Video is going to be called the best screwdriver. Now, first off, what makes the best screwdriver? Durability, usability, the weight ratio, the balance, the tip, whether or not you can buy it at an actual box store if you need to replace it, things like that. So before we get started, let's talk about why I think that I can say what's the best screwdriver. We have a lot of experience. We looked at the Tough Belts, we've looked at the Kleins, we've kind of looked at the Milwaukees a little bit. Now, this is going to be a direct comparison to the Milwaukees. We're going to talk about the Milwaukees because they've got a new screwdriver set out, and it's pretty good. They've got all the same sizes like the Kleins would, and they've got some nice knurling all around them. If you're into that. Tips are nice. Recently, I've had to rebuy everything I've ever owned. Had a whole mold situation. We've given away about $3,000 of tools so far. We've only kept a couple. I made the mistake on actually keeping some. We shouldn't have kept any. And slowly but surely we have thrown those away or given them away. So we've had to rebuy a lot of tools. Now, we bought these Milwaukees just, I didn't want to have the bias. I bought them for you guys. So I didn't want to have the bias of, Milwaukee always coming out with bad hand tools. I know I harp on that a little bit, maybe a lot, I don't know. But look at this. Here we've got one of Milwaukee's newest pair of diagonal cutters. The USA made stuff. Look at that, got a nice hard edge there in the handle. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal until you throw it in a tool bag. You rustle it around a little bit and that becomes a weak point for your insulation or your grip. These should last you a lifetime. In fact, almost all these tools should last you a lifetime. The only reason you need to replace them is if they get stolen. Maybe you drop them off of a building. Or you just misplace them. But for the most part, you can go 20 years easily with a pair of Kleins if you can manage to hang on to them. What you can't do is go 20 years with a screwdriver as an electrician. You're too rough on it. Use it for prying. It's going to get damaged. So durability is a big factor. Let's talk about the usability. Let's look at this Klein here. This is the one that I choose. If you had to rebuy it, and I do have to rebuy it, I'm going to be rebuying this. This is the one that I can't live without. I'm going to show you why with some hard evidence. But before we do that, we got to educate you on tip sizes. So this is what you call a trim, and you can see we're slightly bigger than a trim. A little bit bigger than your beater. This screwdriver would be used for beating, but maybe for tightening a larger lug like number 3 wire with a flat lug would be good for this screwdriver. If you look at the thickness on the side here, you can see you need a pretty big screw for that to fit in there. If we look at the side of this one, you can see where it doesn't come all the way down to a fine point, and you don't want that. You want to be able to catch your screw on that kind of taper there. That way it's kind of in a bind. Then we've got the perfect size for any screwdriver, which is this. See, it doesn't come down to a fine point. They've got some nicely made tips here. They really do. But so does Klein. So let's look at the Klein. You can see where we've beaten this thing to death, nicked it to death, whatever you want to call it. Pay attention to the length right there going all the way up. Take this over here to our code book. You can see how much skinnier this is. Where it matters, this is good for high voltage breakers where you've got almost like a 3/8 opening at best, right? And then the screw is all the way in the back of that breaker. These don't fit in that. If we actually stop and take a look, you can see that this is a pretty wide screwdriver. Let's compare it. Here, you can fit that in a 1/4 inch hole. So all around usability, this has it. The next thing is a preference. My preference, when you're using a screwdriver, right, a lot of people think that the handle is everything that matters. But here's the deal, right? When you use a screwdriver, you don't hold it like this, because that puts your elbow in the air like an idiot, and you're sitting there wrenching on the thing, and you can't really spin it. So what you wind up doing is you end up spinning it up here like this in the back if you're going for speed. But when you really get down to tightening, you're going like this. And this is where your thumb sits, and you wind up grabbing it up here. Because that way you can spin it, you can rotate it up here. And that's just how you use a screwdriver. When you get ready to really, the final tighten, you might go back here, but that's the limit because your elbow is now about to hit the floor. So, you know, it's fun to sit behind a screen and say, oh, well, that's not how you use a screwdriver, but I've used a screwdriver for so long that I know exactly the body language and everything of what it looks like when you use one, and you're going like this pretty much. So we're talking about that trim screwdriver. Look, this thing here is the perfect size for trim. Back to the handles, got a little bit sidetracked here. You can see where this is skinnier. When you grab this, this actually has a hard edge on it, and I don't like that necessarily. Again, this is not against Milwaukee. There's other screwdrivers out there. Milwaukee just did a really good job on the size and tips and stuff, so I figured I could show you guys what it takes to have a good screwdriver. And, you know, Klein does the same thing. This is just more versatile than even Klein's standard screwdriver. Just a little bit. If you ask me, though, the hex shank standard Klein screwdriver for $7 is going to be a win. Just for the price and everything. But if I had to just pick one, it'd be this one, because if you twist this here, it's also a Phillips. And I wind up grabbing this more than anything. So we made a video talking about the knurling on this and how I didn't really appreciate it. Keep in mind, this is like the only screwdriver I got. So it was just one more reason why I didn't really like this. I don't really know what this is for. You're not going to get more grip here. You don't hold a screwdriver like this. You don't use channel locks on a screwdriver like this. I don't know. Whatever. They're okay. They're kind of light feeling, but then they're heavier back here. So they feel like they need more weight. I don't know. I think if they had thicker material here, it might balance it out better. But we're not at the same doorknob. We're in my bathroom, so the doorknob doesn't actually make contact here. But earlier, on a different doorknob, it was making contact with this knurling. Everyone said to use a straw, man up, whatever. You know, insulated screwdriver is always going to be better for this because it protects your surfaces. Someone said use a straw. So we had one of our subscribers send us this. Shout out to the Wilderness Preacher. Go check his channel out. Really, really nice guy. Also sent us this tape measure so we could do the measurements there. So big thank you to Wilderness Preacher. That's the only reason why we talked about the knurling. I didn't really want to talk about it in this video, but I need to link it into a shout out for the Wilderness Preacher. Thank you, sir. Back to the screwdriver. So question is, can this thing take a beating? And the answer is it can, because I beat on it until I broke the tip off of it. But like you see before, we can just switch it out, no problem. But I am curious, can this thing take a really good hit? Because all Klein screwdrivers can take an absolute smashing. So, you know, maybe we should beat on this live. I don't want to do it on this video because I don't want it to be staged. I want to beat this up though, because I got to buy a new one, and I don't want to just buy the shank. We need to buy the whole thing because I'm afraid to take this inside the house. I'm afraid to get it next to my HVAC. You can see the little dust on there. I've already dunked this thing in acetone, so it's probably okay for me, but I'm just going to buy the whole thing, and I'm happy to do it because it is a fantastic screwdriver. I think it's 20 bucks. The Milwaukee set, I think, was like 40. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Does anybody have these? They feel, the balance is just really weird. Watch, I'm going to let it go. And it kind of tends to want to fall back into my hand here. It's going to fall forward now, see? The balance is just, it's just weird. They're weird. And I don't know what it is about it, because this one kind of, you know, also falls the same direction. But it's just, they're really light. Maybe. Let me know what you think is wrong with the balance on them, because there's something off on it. And hopefully we'll get this smashed live so we can see what the durability of this is. Leave it in the comments below. That's all we got for now. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. One more thing we should let you guys know. The tip on this Milwaukee is like, that's the size of it. So this Klein is just that much smaller. Just a touch. Let's go look at a screw. You can see here it fits just fine. Perfectly. So I didn't want you to think I was complaining about the tip size. We were talking about how wide this portion is here, and how they just absolutely knocked it out of the park with this design. As far as the fit, the quality, the design of this, the durability, this is going to be awesome. There's no doubt about that. Biggest thing for me on these would just be this size. So there's your extra little bonus content. See you guys later.